From the very spot where the body of Nolan Wells was brought after it was recovered from the water. And his death, his mysterious death, has truly devastated this community. We're hearing now for the first time, Robin, from an eyewitness, a friend of Wells who was with him on that fateful July 4th boat trip.
I just know I've lost my best friend.
This morning, a friend of Nolan Wells, who was with the 18-year-old the day he was last seen alive, is sharing what he says happened during a July 4th boat trip to an isolated barrier island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Trayston Shepard declined to speak with us on camera because he says he and his friends are getting threats.
We did no wrong here, and we don't understand how we're getting so much hate behind it. We all cared and loved Nolan, and nobody wanted to see Nolan die. Nobody wanted to see his life be taken so short.
Shepard addressed this viral video that investigators have been studying. Wells's parents worried it showed their son involved in a confrontation, but Shepard said that's him, not Wells.
That's the video I'm referring to. That's me yelling.
Shepard says he took a boat back from Horn Island in the late afternoon, but Wells stayed behind with a girl he had met.
They met that day, and it was kind of one of those things. It did come off that day that he really did like her, but that was the only time they'd ever hung out, was at Horn Island on July 4th.
Investigators believe
Nolan's friend speaks out what really happened. Let us listen, because Nolan was with a girl by the time of his death. So they are not sure whether they first murdered him around the pool, or they murdered him at the island. It's alleged. So let us listen to what one of his friends is saying. Right now he's in hiding. Okay, let us see this story.
Back here in the U.S. now, we have new reporting tonight in that mysterious death of an 18-year-old Nolan Wells. For the first time tonight, we now hear from one of the last people to see him alive. Aaron Katersky in Mississippi.
Tonight, we're hearing from a friend of Nolan Wells who was with the 18-year-old on that isolated barrier island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast July 4th, the last day Wells was seen alive.
It breaks our heart that we can't even fully grieve our friend because we're scared.
Trayston Shepard says he and his friends are now getting threats, and he declined to speak with us on camera. But he addressed this social media video that's part of the investigation. Shepard says he's the one heard arguing from the boat, not Wells.
That's the video I'm referring to. That's me yelling.
Shepard says he took a boat back from Horn Island in the late afternoon, but Wells stayed behind with a girl he had met. Wells did not have his phone, but his friend tells us that's not unusual while swimming.
When Nolan got in the water, he put his phone on the dash, also with probably other 15 phones.
His parents say Nolan Wells went nowhere without his phone, but on July 4th, he left it behind in the boat. We're in about 2-3 feet of water, and so people hop over the edge and swim to shore.
Nolan Wells!
The community is clamoring for answers. Are you on any timetable here?
I think it's important that we don't put ourselves on a timetable. It's important to be diligent in gathering all the facts. That's what the family deserves.
We're also learning tonight, David, the local district attorney is involved in the case, though so far there's no evidence to suggest what happened to Nolan Wells involved a crime. David?
Our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky, tonight in Mississippi. Thank you.
Really killed Nolan Wells, because everyone is coming up with their answers, but we don't know who killed him. Maybe the friends can help us on what really happened, because this guy is saying he left the island, but Nolan was still there. He was with a girl he found at the island.
Did y'all see Nolan Wells' friends talking about the altercation that happened on the island?
You just described that you had another friend, not Nolan, another friend who was in and got into a dispute. Is that video the other argument that you were talking about?
Yes.
So, but is that Nolan in the video?
I can't tell. It's too far away. But in that video, I feel like the voices are too clear. Like from the side, it's too clear for it to be that far away, for it to be Nolan arguing. And then also that altercation, it sounds just like my other friend that got into the altercation on the boat. and they were trying to, like, as he was in that altercation, I was calming him down. They were trying to get him out off the island. They were trying to get him back to land because he was just losing it. So
Describe that. That's kind of interesting. What was
losing
that
it,
about?
he was just very hostile. Like he was just like really like mad. Like they were just trying to, like, the parents on that boat were trying to get him out.
Did any investigators ever speak to you about what you saw that day?
No sir,
Really? Okay. Cops have not talked to you yet.
no sir.
That's
I don't
odd.
see why the cops would have. I don't see why the cops would have to talk to me. I mean, obviously, like, like I had said my plea, like, because whenever I had talked to the people at Sunherd, it was whenever the body was discovered, and the autopsy people and the all those people were there.
It's odd to me. Just to gather information. Yeah, that the cops wouldn't have contacted you. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, I'm completely fine with that. Like I said, I have nothing to hide. Like, that's my boy, and I want him to find justice. Like that. Like this whole case thing. Like whatever. Like this whole situation, and none of this adds up to me. So
yeah, none of this is adding up to anybody. But when they asked if that was Nolan in the video, and he said he doesn't know because it was too far away to see, you were there during that altercation. Was Nolan standing there with you guys during that altercation? Not based off of what you saw in the video, but based on your own two eyes. Was Nolan there during that altercation? Why is that like? And it makes zero sense why the police aren't questioning his friends. Like, why aren't y'all investigating what the fuck happened to Nolan? Why are y'all just trying to say, oh, it was a drowning accident and just wipe your hands of it? That makes no sense. And then this is the friend who I believe Javon was talking about, who was actually in the altercation.
We did no wrong here, and we don't understand how we're getting so much hate behind it. We all cared and loved Nolan, and nobody wanted to see Nolan die. Nobody wanted to see his life be taken so short. That's the video I'm referring to. That's me yelling.
Shepard says he took a boat back from Horn Island in the late afternoon, but Wells stayed behind with a girl he had met.
They met that day, and it's kind of one of those things. It did come off that day that he really did like her, but that was the only time they'd ever hung out, was at Horn Island on July 4th.
And another creator had posted saying that Trayson said that Nolan wasn't even there during the altercation. If that's the case, where was Nolan at? But I didn't hear him say that in his interview, so I don't know where he got that from. If Nolan wasn't there during the altercation, where was he at? I'm so ready for the facts of this case to come out because there's so many contradicting stories. Nobody knows what's true, and I know this is driving his parents crazy. But we're going to get justice for Nolan Wells by any means necessary.
But let us go back how it started.
A story out of Mississippi has the entire country watching. It started with a holiday trip, friends heading to an island on one summer afternoon on the water. Only one of them never made it home. This is the Nolan Wells story. Here's what we know. No fluff, just facts, and now let's get to the facts. His full name is Nolan Xavier Wells. He was 18 years old, a wide receiver at Southwest Mississippi Community College, athletic and everything ahead of him. And on July 4th, Nolan joined friends. Now, their plan was a boat trip. The destination was Horn Island. That Barry Island sits offshore. It's 10 miles off Mississippi's coast. Horn Island has no staff, no drinking water, no cell service, and the only way in is by boat. Leaving requires a boat, too. Now, photos show Nolan with three young men. They landed at Northwest Tip. That's the north end of the island. And Nolan was last seen around 3 p.m. Now, witnesses say he was talking to a girl around 4:30 p.m. The friends left. Chancery Judge Ashley Cole issued a statement. Her son was on the boat. She says the boat allegedly took on water. The bilge pump allegedly had an issue. According to her account, Nolan Wells chose to stay behind. He was going to ride back with another group of friends. That's the story from the boat. At 11 p.m. at night, one friend called its U.S. Coast Guard. Coast Guard determined no assistance was needed. Around midnight, his mother called authorities. Christine Wansley reported him missing. The search began at first light. Jackson County Sheriff's Office led it. Multiple agencies joined the effort. Coast Guard, Park Service, Marine Resources, plus the United Cajun Navy volunteers. On July 6, a park ranger found a body in the water. The location was the Northwest Tip. Dental records confirmed the identity. It was Nolan Xavier Wells. Sheriff John Ledbetter told the AP investigators do not suspect foul play. That statement came before the state autopsy was complete. The family is not accepting that answer. What his mother discovered next raised more questions than answers. Part 2, I'll break it down for the crew, so follow for more. Bow.
This one is saying that in this video I'm showing that they had Nolan saying, "Give me back my phone." And a friend said, the other friend said that he had left the phone on the dashboard. So who is right, who is not right? This is so confusing.
All right, y'all, things are happening in the Nolan Wells case, and some of them change what we thought we knew from before. So let's get into it. All right, in my earlier video, one of them, I referenced that viral argument video. I've shared the video, and I also talked about what was said about the video in the press conference. And Ben Crump said at the press conference that Nolan can be heard in that video saying, "Give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing?" And that is what he said at the press conference. But new reporting has come out that actually directly contradicts that claim. And I wanted to address it here because I can't even believe this, but like there are millions of views on these videos. And I just want to make sure that like as facts come out, that's what we're talking about because I'm trying to deal in facts over here. There's just so much going on with this case. All right, so Trayston Shepard, who is a close friend of Nolan's that was on Horn Island that day as well, he spoke to Rolling Stone and he said on the record, "That's my voice, that's not Nolan's," and his actual exact words are quoted, "Those were not Nolan's words, they were mine." So he says the video captured a completely different argument between him and another person. Nolan wasn't even visible in the recording. He says Nolan was off in the water elsewhere. Like he was fine at that point. He wasn't arguing with anybody. And as we know, and as I've seen his friends, his family, everybody said that he was a very peaceful person, that he was non-confrontational. I don't know that we can say the same about Trayston Shepard. This kid is 20 years old. He got into it with his girlfriend, apparently. Somebody, I think, was walking by and he said criticized his either handling of that argument or the argument in general. They started getting into it. His family tries to get him back on the boat. He says that what was going on was he was yelling, "Get me off this fucking boat," because he wanted to get back on the island and apparently fight whoever this was that he was getting into it with. So he says for sure that that argument was all me. That Nolan had nothing to do with that. Javon Williams, another close friend of Nolan's, confirmed the same thing to TMZ. He said the audio sounded like Shepard, not like Nolan, and that he was there trying to calm Shepard down during that argument. And both say Nolan, he was there on the island, but he was not part of this argument in any way. Now, Crump has not responded to any comments about this. He had said that there were other people that they interviewed who identified the voice on the recording as they thought it was Nolan's, but as we know now, it was Trayston Shepard. There are a couple other things that are circulating pretty widely that are not confirmed by reputable news outlets. They don't seem to be verified. One is that there was a party at one of the friends' houses after Nolan went missing. Again, if that ever gets like verified, vetted, whatever, we can talk about it as fact. But right now, that's just sort of seems to be social media circulating. There is also, though, a photo circulating that people are saying shows Nolan at a pool party in Jackson County before 1 a.m. on July the 5th, and Ben Crump himself did repost it, but there's no official confirmation yet on whether it is actually Nolan, what the full context is. The only timestamp that I can find as to when this photo was posted on the original Instagram was it said 21 hours ago, and the caption was just summer 26, so like very vague. But I don't know 21 hours ago as of when. I don't know when the screenshot initially was taken. All right, so again, this case is moving really quickly. There are a lot of pieces in the air. As things update, I will update you guys. As things change, I will let you know. Obviously, like what happened with the press conference, there were some things that Ben Crump thought because he had gotten them from a source that were incorrect. So as I find out, if I find out anything that like we've seen somewhere and it turns out to be incorrect, I'm going to let you guys know that too. We know though that there is an ongoing investigation. There are unanswered questions. There do seem to be some contradictions in maybe some of the eyewitness accounts and things like that. We still need people to come forward with photos and videos and all of those things. So I know that the family and the police are still asking anybody who was there, please share photos, videos, eyewitness accounts, anything like that. And just so you guys know, I am a host on the true crime podcast, This Feels Criminal. We do deep dives on cases every single week. We release Tuesday and Thursday, so you can find us on podcasts, YouTube, whatever. So if you like my bite-sized updates, I do full case dives over there. I'd love to see you there.
My nose is out here. My eyes are here. my brain is here, which means some things I could smell before I could see and before I can figure out. This does not smell right. So some people are saying, Reverend, are y'all bringing in race? Well, we're not bringing in race, but we're not discounting race either, because we don't know what it is. So to tell us don't rush to judgment saying it was racist is fine. But then I'm telling you, don't rush to judgment saying it was not racism.
We do have an update on the Nolan Wells case. One of Nolan Wells' alleged friends, Aisha Spencer, has come forward via a series of replies in a Facebook comment section, kind of giving us her background of what happened that night. Alicia alleges that Nolan did in fact leave the island, and everyone went to a pool party at Evan's house. So at this pool party, like most pool parties, there's drinking, there's smoking. Alicia alleges that at this pool party, 3 boys.
So you said that he stayed the night at a friend's. The first question is, did he stay with the friends that he went on the boat with? Yes, he did. And my second question is, has anyone come forward and provided you with other photographs or videos from Horn Island from July 4th that afternoon?
They're starting to send them to our office, and that's where Attorney Parker has been adamant about. Please continue to send whatever video you got, whatever pictures you got. And we're very thankful that some of y'all people have done that.
There is an update on the Nolan Wells case. Now, one of the friends who was on the boat with Nolan, his name is Tristan Shepard, and he did go on the news and made a statement. He did not do like a video where he showed his face. It was just his voice, because he said that they have been getting a lot of death threats. Now, he did say we all cared and loved for Nolan, and he also stated that he was the one in that video where there's like a confrontation where everyone is saying that Nolan was in this fight. So allegedly, according to him, that was him actually yelling in the video, and he was the one in an argument in a fight. He also said, I want everybody just to relax and let everybody mourn the loss of Nolan, and let us remember him as in like the sweet guy. Now, I disagree. I think that his family should do whatever they're wanting to do to figure out what happened to their son. But of course, that's just what he said. He said, let the investigation continue and let the facts be known. Now, he, I believe, is the first person that was on that boat to speak out publicly. And maybe more of them will speak out.
Something about this doesn't sit right with me. Nolan Wells' best friend, Javon Williams, went on to TMZ and he stated that he doesn't believe that Nolan's death was a whole race thing. He does admit that things are not adding up with the case, but he does not believe that race played a role.
So I wouldn't say that it's a whole race thing, but it's just like, obviously they're going to paint it as that because none of this adds up.
Now, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but this completely conflicts with their attorney that they hired, Ben Crump, has stated. He has stated that there is a possible racial motivation due to the history of Mississippi and the fact that witnesses' accounts are not adding up.
And tragically, they all came back, but Nolan didn't. And Nolan was the only African American in the group.
And also, Nolan's parents themselves have not ruled out that race may have been a factor.
Do you think that race may be involved in what happened to your son?
I don't want to believe it is, but unfortunately, there's patterns, right?
So many things have happened, and so many things have been swept under the rug.
Now, Javon is young. He may not fully grasp what's going on. He may not really fully understand racism. I don't know. But I just know that me, even at that age, could not imagine wanting to go and do an interview with TMZ, people who have been insensitive about people's deaths in the past, I might add, after my friend died. What do you think?
There is no way in hell that that young man decided to go for a swim by himself on that island on 4th of July weekend. The island's packed with people. It would be hard to even find a way to go for a swim by yourself alone on that island on 4th of July. It's just a little spit of land. But there is no fucking way in hell that that young black man on an island full of white people decided to sneak off by himself and go for a swim alone in water over his head or anywhere near over his head. You understand what I'm saying? That's not something that happened. And an accidental drowning is the only way that that young man could be dead and it not be murder. And there's no fucking way he went swimming by himself, that he left the group. And
Secret Service Sam here with a Nolan Xavier Wells update. And ABC was just at the spot. I'm standing here at the spot where the body was found on that faithful night. And it doesn't the mainstream media understand that none of us care for your acting anymore. They want real independent journalism who talks to them like a real person, not any of this Walter Cronkite situation. Nobody wants that. This woman here says it perfectly. They said nothing. She says the fact that the news keeps reporting nothing but some empty statements is very telling. Where's the facts? Where's the evidence? I don't want to hear any more statements or sentiments, only evidence. All these kids and their parents' phones should be reviewed for pictures, texts, and location timestamps. That will tell the real story. It's not that difficult. They are playing in our faces. And they gave no new information at all. It's just BS. You traveled all that way to basically stand upon that man's soul and just make a mockery of it. Here's what one of his friends, Trayston Shepard, said. They met about the girl, right? Remember the girl? They met that day, and it's kind of one of those things. He did come off that day that he really liked her, but that was the only time they had hung out was at Horn Island on July 4th. And people are quick to point out, like, this kid, he's not emotional in this message, and he's saying, I don't understand. Everybody's coming after us. He didn't want to show his face on the news. He's like, everybody's coming after us. Everybody's threatening us. Like, look, yes, the way these friends have handled this situation have been piss poor at best, okay? Like, just come forward, tell the truth, tell what happened, and then everybody's talking about the one video that appears to show a fight. We know for a fact there is more than just that one video. These kids are hiding what happened on Horn Island. It doesn't make sense. His friend Trayston Shepard goes on to say, we all cared and loved Nolan, and nobody wanted to see Nolan die. Nobody wanted to see his life taken so short. He says taken. Was it taken? Or was it accidental? Because words matter. And I just don't understand why they're not detaining these boys. Why, Alacia Spencer, that woman, even if she's real or fake, it deserves to be investigated. You need to go find out. The police department in Mississippi, is this a real allegation or is it false? Like, what are they taking so much time on? Where is this autopsy? Where? We need justice for Nolan Xavier Wells today. Secret Service Sam out, Samson for president of the world.
I don't know if you can hear it or see it. Let's run it one more time. It's towards the end. Yeah, I don't know.
Was the audio we were hearing even coming from those people? We don't know. Were those people having the argument that other reports are saying was happening? We don't know. We can't put it together based on that sliver of video. It does seem clear, though, that he is in the video, and I believe that they have some other pictures that have surfaced of him on the island. So we at least know that he made it to the island, that he got off of the boat. We're showing pictures of the boat. And I think soon we'll know whether he left when they left or not, or whether it is true that he stayed behind. I think soon we'll know whether he was seen alive after the others in his party were already gone. And those facts will be what will clear up the timeline. And then obviously the independent autopsy, whatever the state autopsy says, and whether the independent autopsy says something different, whether they notice something different.
A couple of things, Monique Presley. Mm-hmm. If you were representing him, what would you do with this video that I just showed you? Would you get a forensic person? I don't know, like a audio person or video person, or what would you do with this?
You're
Does
gonna
it
have
do anything for you?
so you're trying to get me in the crosshairs of Ben Crump right now. My friend,
I know you know Ben and your friend, so not at all, not at all.
dear friends, no. I think, Don, what I would
Let me
do.
just say this though before Ben stays winning. I have
Oh
to.
yeah, and that's why I said what I'm going to say to you is what I'm sure they are already doing. I mean, any and every piece of evidence that comes, they're going to assess it. They're going to have investigators look at it. They're going to have as many of the witnesses or the surrounding people in the video identified. They're going to run those people down and talk to them. They're going to do forensic analysis on the video, on the audio, see where it lines up. I mean, it will happen. So whatever can be done will be done with that and with anything else. I mean, there obviously when the other people who were there got off of the boat, there are likely witnesses of that as well. There's going to be a very definitive timeline at some point. What has made for frustration, I believe, and certainly on the part of Nolan's mom, was that these young men would not just step forward and speak and say everything that they know. Again, depending on who you are, you're going to get different advice about that. So whatever it is that happened, if as you say, are from influential families, then they were probably provided legal counsel and they were probably told not to speak until such time as they had been be properly interviewed in the presence of lawyers, if they were going to be accused of a crime, etc. It's the kind of advice I've given. So I can't poo-poo the advice and say that that's not something that maybe would happen if a friend called me and they were in a circumstance where somebody is now missing. I probably wouldn't be, as a defense attorney, saying, oh, let's go into the police station right now and say everything we know. That's what we hope people will do, but that is not always the way that it goes. That doesn't mean,
Monique, real quick, that doesn't.
One of Nolan's friends is speaking.
I know that friend group that he was with is known for, I don't know if I can say the substance, but they're known for doing a certain substance. And, some of us who have spoke to Nolan prior to the island date, we know that they were known for doing that substance. Another thing that we believe, what if they peer pressured him into doing something? And again, with a mixture of alcohol and...
This is allegedly, y'all. This is allegedly. And Jesus just giving us his synopsis of what he feels. So allegedly, Jesus, you got to remember when you're getting on these panels, you got to say allegedly because somebody will try to wrap you up.
Allegedly, coming from his friend group that knows him very well. I'm talking about teammates that played with him, went to school with him, and folks that see him every weekend. Allegedly, we believe that maybe something just didn't go the way they wanted it to. Maybe they were trying to have a little bit too much fun, and it was just a mistake that they covered up. But I know for a fact that friend group that they were with is known for a certain substance. So it does not surprise me whatsoever. And I'm almost certainly confident, allegedly, that there was that substance on that boat. I know we won't know till the body gets tested and all that, but, it's what makes sense to me. I don't believe he tried to swim back to the island or anything like that. There's just a lot of things that doesn't make sense. Why did they leave him in the first place? Why didn't they make sure he had a ride home? If that was me and my friend group that I typically hang out with, Nolan, yes, was in that, but if it was me and my 4 close friends, I'm not leaving that island until I leave with my friends.
Honestly, I don't know what the substance could be. It could be a multiple things dealing with 3x5 cards. But if they were doing substances on that boat and Nolan was being allegedly peer pressured into it, and he was drinking at the same time, that would have not been a good combination. But Jesus spoke his piece. I really don't think he should have spoke his piece online. I think he should have took that shit to the police. But he did it anyway. On top of that, now we know that Katie is cooperating with the police. Okay, she is lawyered up and she is going to be assisting in whatever she can when it comes to Nolan's unaliving. But his other friends has still locked down, refusing to talk to anybody, including the judge. Okay, I think her name is Ashley Cole. I want y'all to keep this in mind. The autopsy has not been performed yet, but I guarantee you Ben Crump will have an independent one. And we're going to find out what actually happened to Nolan. Did y'all see the girl talking about Nolan was at a pool party with her after they left the island? She said, bro, Nono didn't get into a fight at the island. It was our other friend. Nono and Wyatt did get into an altercation right after that, not even 10 minutes later, because Wyatt took his phone and Evan was trying to be hard. Nolan was definitely screaming, give me my fucking phone back, nigga. What the hell wrong with you? So they all calmed down. So that's when we head to Evan's house because he was throwing a pool party. So yes, Nono came to the party and yes, we was drinking, but Wyatt and Evan and Morgan and Andrew was really high. And I think they was trying to get Lucy and Natalie to try some as well. But yes, they got into it again at the pool party. It didn't end until almost 1 a.m. I know Evan's mom kicked us all out. Once they started fighting, it was Andrew and Evan and Wyatt, and Warren was basically recording and laughing, saying, get him, get him. And all I could hear was Nono screaming, Mom. So yes, I tried helping. Then his mom came out, screaming, yelling drunk, making us leave.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.